Father Paul Grela, the Society of Our Lady of the Most Holy Trinity. This is class number 9. And by the way, we'll be having classes. I've been praying about this all week. We'll probably go into either the end of Genesis or the middle of June, because I have got a swamping schedule. And right now, even though I'm not in a parish, I am extremely busy. We got to help the priest over here who's gone to Africa. So I got masses for him. I got a Spanish wedding for him. And I got to polish his shoes too. No, just kidding. Okay. He's got just a little joke. Come on, I have a little joke. Anyways. So listen, but let's get into Genesis. I want to give you a few notes. See, I told you I did a Bible study in Genesis a long time ago, and I found my notes because I have a lot of notes, a lot of binders. And now, if you tell me I'm in a bind, that's a compliment, okay? So, Father Paul, if you say you're in a bind, I say you're right. I do have a lot of binders because I've had a lot of notes. I read a lot, but I also take notes with it. So listen, here's the scoop. The scoop I want to give you some notes on. Listen to this. First of all, you'll like this review, and I got to pull it up right here. Okay. All right, in my notes, here we go. Here it is. First of all, for those if you didn't have class last week, you can send me a email. I had a handout on covenants, 2 handouts, 7 major covenants, and the other one summarizes it. So these right here, if you didn't get it, just email me, and I'll get you a copy of that. Here's the other one. But the 7 major covenants that we have in Scripture. So, well, let me give you the notes that I want to give to you that are part of Genesis. First of all, I'll pull this up here right now, and that is no. Okay, here we go. Okay. First of all, when you want to pull up the notes, guess what? Can't find them. And I had them. See, I got these binders. That's why I don't know but I can do it from my head. First of all, hope I can do it from my head. Yes, the first note is the danger of man not being the head of his household. And the first one is, of course, is Adam not telling Eve, don't eat from the tree. And here's the second one. The second one is we covered this last time, and that is, Sarah telling Abraham, hey, we got to have a kid. We don't have a kid. Why don't you have sexual intercourse with our slave girl? No, the husband should have said, no, we don't do that. God said he's going to promise through you. So the head of the household, the man speaks, the woman listens, right? Right? Gene? Okay. It is. But when the man makes it here, that's a good thing. Let me just finish. Okay, I have the floor. Okay. Okay, I'll give you, but seriously, because I just prepared a couple and had a bunch of meetings for a couple. Now I'm going to witness their marriage in Mora in July, when I'm there in July. And I told him, I said, yeah, there's 2 kinds of obedience, by the way, which, we don't talk about that too often, but there's 2 kinds of obedience. Obedience of authority is that's the man, the obedience of authority. We need to go here, you need to do that. That's the man telling, and like he said to Sarah, no, Sarah, listen, God said he's going to give us a child through you. Well, it's not happening right now. Go have sexual relations with us. No. He should have said no, just like Adam should have said, no, honey, don't eat from that tree. So that's obedience of authority. But the woman has obedience of friendship. Now, what is obedience or friendship? That is, if she asks her husband to do something and he has no emergency to do anything, he should do it right then and there. Story. Let me give you a story. So, I was giving counseling to a couple, and to get a couple to come for counseling is really hard. Either the man doesn't want to come, or the woman doesn't want to come, or what does that priest know? He don't know anything about marriage. That's all they always say. That priest don't know anything about marriage. I know a lot about marriage because I've talked to a lot of couples and I've witnessed almost 90 weddings. So I think I know something. Okay. So anyways, he says, she said what he says, it's always what he has to do, what he wants. And he likes football down there in Belize. Oh, football, me gusta football, And so they even had TiVo back then. And I don't know, TiVo is where you freeze it, and then you can catch all the action. And so, she asked him to get some tomatoes for the recipe. Simple thing, but the football is on. He said, I can't do it, honey. I'll get it later. If you want to eat on time, listen, we got company coming. Go get I'll do it after the football game. Holy smoke. So I told him, I said, and that's what they tell me was the example, right? I said, go buy the tamales or the tomatoes for your wife and do it right then and there. Right then and there. And she can put it on TiVo so you can get the action like this. Yeah. And so guess what? The next time so now maybe a week from now, make the same thing. And, if you run short, we'll just ask him to do it. And guess what? He did what she wanted right then and there. And you know what she told me? That mi esposa me se puso un estrella en mi corazón. That my husband put a star in my heart because he listened to me. Yeah. Oh, you're all excited. So, obedience of authority and obedience of friendship. What do you think? That's big.
But that's minor stuff.
What?
That's minor stuff. My question as far as the man being the head of the household,
yes,
which is all great and fine, but there are.
Oh yeah, let me get you on. Hey, let me say, stop right there, so we know. Otherwise, they'll think I don't have an audience.
You have in a major decision, right? They're gonna discuss that, and they're gonna come to a mutual agreement.
Yes.
He's not gonna just do what, and she's gonna say okay.
Well, and give me an example of what it is to listen. See, obedience of friendship means you have to do it together. But
right.
Yes,
you're talking about
but
just like changing the laundry out of the dryer. I'm talking about major.
well, maybe
decisions.
if you ask them, you should do it right. You should do it right away, honey. I'm tied up right now. Can you pull the laundry out of the washing machine? And he should do it right away, right, guys? Right, guys?
Unless he doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah, but unless he should, honey, can you get the clothes out of the washing machine? I got a phone call and I need to put this X, Y, and Z. So Gene told me yesterday, Joanne asked him to do it, and he did it right away, didn't he, Joanne?
I don't know what I asked him to do.
Okay, but he whispered to me, said, she asked me to do it, and I did it right away. Way to go, Gene.
That was a lie, Father.
You what?
It was a lie. I think it was
Oh, no. I know he asked him to change the light bulb, and that was a big deal because he had to get up on the ladder. Way to go, Gene. So anyways, that's point number one. Number two is Ishmael, again, Ismael. He's the father of the Islamic people. Translation, he's the father of all the Muslims. And I told somebody this week, by the way, like I said, I know this in my head, but next time, remind me. Oh, my secretary, remind me. I stuck it in here, but for some reason, it went into another folder. But anyways, Ishmael is the father of the Muslim people. But now here's the other thing. If you study the Quran, and I've only looked at parts of the Quran, but I've read about the Muslim religion. We see the Jewish people see God as a father. God is a father. That's why Jesus said when we pray, you always say, our Father. You know what the Muslims see God as? They don't see him as they obviously he's a father, like Father Abraham, because they both recognize Abraham as the father of their founder. We all recognize that. But you know what they see? The father ultimately is a master. And I'm going to tell you this is true. If they call God Father, it's blasphemous. I'll say it again. You heard this right. You look in the Quran. If Muslim calls God Father, it's blasphemous. For them, God is a master, and that's a big difference. Master is, almost like slave type. And Jesus was called master too. I understand that, but he's called teacher more than anything else. But God is Father for us, and that's a beautiful thing. And that's why we have to pray. The number one problem in the world, I told you, I read a book back in the early 80s called Broken America by a sociologist, David Blankenhorn. You know what he says the number one problem is? Lack of fatherhood. Yeah, lack of father. We don't, like I told you, in the town I used to work in, only 23%, was it 20? Is it 23 or 33%? Very slow. Have both a mother and a father together. Some have two mothers. Some have one father. One has to live with the father one weekend, the mother with another weekend. But no, fatherhood. That's why we need men, real men. I told you first time, Eve, don't eat from that tree. Do I have to tell you again? And I told you, cover your dad's nakedness. Don't sit there and gawk at him. Cover your dad. He's naked. I know he's drunk, but cover him up.
So wait a minute. So the lack of fatherhood, that means it's not the woman's fault. It's the man's fault doing what he ever did incorrectly in the household.
And that's why the sin is traced. That's right. And that's why the sin is traced through Adam. Oh, happy fall of Adam. Even though she ate the apple first now. Come on. Ladies, why did you eat the apple first? Joanne, how come you did that?
But there are a lot of unwed mothers.
Correct.
So there too, the father is absent out of it.
Yeah, it is. But you hit the nail on the head. That's why the sin of it's obedience, disobedience, and what? Sin of omission. But the man, that's why this is a huge point. If we just cover this tonight, we need to have manly authority. And the father is the head of the household. The woman is the heart of the household. You can't have the head without the heart or the heart without the head. Right, Joanne? Right, Gene? So change that light bulb tonight, will you? Yeah. Okay. And and now here. Okay. Let's. I think those are the major points I wanted to cover. Oh yes. Notice that Ishmael, and I covered this last time. Ishmael marries a what? A believer or a non-believer? A non-believer. No good. He marries an Egyptian, and that's why we got all the problems right now with the Hezbollah and all that stuff. And the radical Muslims, they want to wipe us out. They want to wipe out Israel. And I told you when I went to Holy Land, when I was trying to buy souvenirs, they see the priest clothes and they, Father, get what you want. Okay. I mean, it's not like, hello, Father.
So if we go over there dressed like you, then they'll give us whatever we want.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right.
No, I had to buy the souvenir. They didn't just, but no, it's anti-Catholicism. It's not just anti-Semitism. It's anti-Catholicism. Let's be real. I mean, anti-Semitism gets all the press, anti-Semitic. But no, even in Israel, it's anti-Catholicism. So, anyways, okay, let's go to Genesis chapter 21. And I think let's see if there's one other point I want to cover with you that's important here. I think that, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, here we go. So people at home, those are some points I had to cover that I didn't cover before, but very important. We're on to Genesis chapter 21, birth of Isaac. And I was telling the class before we got on the air that I'm going to try to see if we can go to the end of Genesis, and then we'll probably take a break for the summer. I'm extremely busy, as if I was a pastor as a parish, because I've got a lot of hats to have, lots of hats to hold. Plus, I'm preparing a couple for sacraments, and they know very little about the Catholic faith. So, okay, here we go. Genesis 21, birth of Isaac. The span of Sarah's life was 127 years. She died in Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham performed the customary mourning rites for her. Then he left the side of his dead one and addressed the Hittites. Now, let me tell you about the Hittites before we go on. Look at the footnote below. The Hittites, a non-Semitic people in Canaan. The relation to the well-known Hittites of Asia Minor is uncertain, but they're a non-Semitic people. Now, guess what I did? When I was on retreat, I did a Bible, did a little study on the mysteries of mankind. This is mankind. And the Hittites, by the way, later on, you're going to find this out. They go to the land of Mesopotamia. Now, I don't have that of the whole, let's see, do I have Mesopotamia? No, it's, is it Turkey up here? It's in the Turkey. It's on the eastern part, most eastern part of Turkey. And the Hittites end up going there. Let's see. It's up here and they're here. Anyways, it's up here. The Hittites end up going there, and they end up starting a like a community of monks. The Hittites, yeah, they're mentioned in the scripture later on, Mesopotamia. They found these caves where they were living like monks, and they were trying to protect the Christian religion at that time. So this is not a big deal. This is a big deal about Hittites. So hit number one, don't judge the Hittites, okay? But anyways, yeah, they ended up protecting the Christian religion up there in the caves. Although I am a resident alien among you, sell me from your holdings a piece of property for a burial ground that I may bury my dead wife. The Hittites answer Abraham, please, sir, listen to us. You are an elect of God among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of your burial sites. None of us would deny you its burial ground for the burial of your dead. Abram, however, began to bow low before the local citizens, the Hittites, while he appealed to them. If you will allow me room for burial of my dead, listen to me. Intercede for me with Ephron, son of Zohar, asking him to sell me the cave of Machpelah that he owns. It is at the edge of the field. Let him sell it to me in your presence at its full price for a burial price. Now, do me a favor, Rick, can you turn that one down, that air conditioner? Yeah, that one right there is on pretty, all we need is the one. I'm just trying to, yeah, that one is on. Okay, here we go. So that's it. But Abraham, after bowing low, listen to this. How about his humility? So Ephron was present with the Hittites. So Ephron the Hittite replied to Abraham in the hearing of the Hittites, who said on his own counsel, please, sir, listen to me. I give you both the field and the cave in it. In the presence of my kinsman, I make this gift. Bury your dead. For Abraham, bowing low before the local citizens, addressed Ephron in the hearing of these men. Ah, if only you would please listen to me. I will pay you the price of the field. Accept it from me that I may bury my dead there. Ephron replied to Abraham, please, sir, listen to me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me as long as you can bury your dead? Abraham accepted Ephron's terms. He weighed out to him the silver that Ephron had stipulated in the burying of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver at the current market value. Hey, these guys they had a money market back then. They had a stock market back then. Look at that, Gene. They had a stock market. Even back then, look at the current market value. Here's prophecy of the stock market right there. What do you think? Okay, Ernest, you like your stock market? No, I don't think so either. Okay, yeah. Don't put your stock in the stock market. Okay. Thus, Ephron's field in Machpelah, facing Mamre, together with its cave and all the trees anywhere within its limits, was conveyed to Abraham by the purchase in the presence of the Hittites who sat on Ephron's town council. After this transaction, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field of Machpelah, facing Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. Thus, the field with its cave was transferred from the Hittites to Abraham as a burial place. So the Hittites are starting to come around. Hittites are starting to come around. 24, Isaac and Rebekah. Oh, now this is one of those famous stories again. You like stories, right? This is where the man needs to put his foot down again. Gene. Okay, you already know the famous. Abraham had now reached, this is chapter 24. Abraham had now reached a ripe old age, and the Lord had blessed him in every way. Abraham said to the senior servant of his household, who had charge of all his possessions, "Put your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not procure a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom you live, but that you will go to my own land and to my kindred to get a wife for my son Isaac." Beautiful. Way to go, Dad. Look at that. Ernest, look at that. You're not going to marry an unbeliever. You're going to marry one of our kinswomen. Martinez and Gonzalez. Beautiful. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Now see this. Okay, verse 5. The servant asked him, "What if the woman is unwilling to follow me to this land? Shall I then take your son back to the land from which you migrated?" Never take my son back there for any reason. I like the translation. Okay, good. Okay. Never. Abraham told him, "The Lord, the God of heaven, who took me from my father's house in the land of my kin, and conform my oath to the promise he then made to me, I will give this land to your descendants. He will send his messenger before you, and you will obtain a wife for my own son there. If the woman is willing to follow you, you will be released from this oath. But never take my son back there." Way to go, Dad. Put your foot down. So the servant put his hand under the thigh of his master Abraham and swore to him in this undertaking. So isn't that interesting? Put the hand under the side there, you know. The servant then took, verse 10, the servant then took 10 of his master's camels, and bearing all kinds of gifts from his master, he made his way to the city of Nahor in Aram of Naim. Near evening, when the women go out to draw water, he made the camels kneel by the well outside the city. Then he prayed, "Lord, God of my master Abraham, let it turn out favorably for me today, and thus deal graciously with my master Abraham. Will I stand here at the spring, and the daughters of the townsmen are coming out to draw water? If I say to a girl," look at this. Here's this. You know what this is called? This is called throw out the fleece. You know, the fleece, like what Joshua will talk about later on. Throw out the fleece. In other words, if you want this woman to be my wife, on my 14th day, my 14th day, and he's counting all the dates. If she says on the 14th day, "Will you marry me?" That's his wife. And I mean that. I'm making that up, but that could be. Okay, Lord, if the 14th date, if she says she wants to get married and I propose, and if she says yes, it is. So, but it sounds like a joke, but no, you can do that. This is walking in faith. So, listen, let's go back. If I say to the girl, "Please lower your jug that I may drink," and she answers, "Take a drink and let me give water to your camels too. Let her be the one whom you have decided upon for your servant Isaac. In this way I shall know that you have dealt graciously with my master." Look at that faith. Look at that faith. Just put it out there. So if you want to buy a lottery ticket, if you want to win, you just got to buy the lottery ticket. But don't buy lottery tickets. Come on. You know.
You get more to the church, Father?
I know, but I heard that before too. I'll give half to the church. But listen, I want you to do bingos. Bingos are safer and healthier.
I thought we were only supposed to give 10%.
But a lot of people say,
Well, that's 10% of $1 million.
I know, but people always say, they say that If I win the lottery, I'll give half to the church. I've yet to see that. Okay, here we go. He had now verse 15. He had scarcely finished these words when Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor, came out with a jug on her shoulder. This girl was very beautiful, a virgin, untouched by man. She went down to the spring and filled her jug. As she came up, the servant ran toward her and said, "Please, give me a sip of water from your jug." And look at this. "Take a drink, sir," she replied, and quickly lowering the jug onto her hand, she gave him a drink. When she had gave him his drink, his fill, she said, "I will draw water for you, for your camels too, until they have drunk their fill." Same wording as Dad had said. With that, she quickly emptied her jug into the drinking trough and ran back to the well to withdraw more water until she had drawn enough for all the camels. So this is what, now write this down. It's called the Jewish Pact, P-A-C-T, because Jewish Pact, it's like that, put the arm under your thing there, but a Jewish Pact. So, a Jewish Pact. So, but it's the dad. Remember, he's speaking up. So, Grandpa and Grandma, if you get a prayer, and Isabella, have you thought about becoming a religious sister? Maybe you might pray about this. Is one time she comes and she says, "I'm thinking about becoming a sister. And it has to be on July 18 at 4:00. I mean, you can put it that specific. God answers those kind of prayers. July 18, 4:00. Grandma and Grandpa, I've been thinking about becoming a sister. And it's July 18th and it's 4:00. I've heard things like that before. Seriously, you can walk by faith. Okay, here we go. So a Jewish pact was made by a person who was given authority to carry out by oath. This person put his hand under the thigh of a person giving the duty responsibility. So this go like this, everybody. So Ernest and I made a pact today on the phone. He's going to try to help me tomorrow. And I said, "Now, Ernest, when we come tomorrow, go like this, and I'll put my hand under your side." Okay. Well, he said, "Fine. Right, we're going to make Ernest, we're going to make a verbal pact." Okay, here we go. So listen to this. The man watched her the whole time, silently waiting to learn whether or not the Lord had made his errand successful. When the camels had finished drinking, the man took out a gold ring weighing half a shekel, which he fastened on her nose, and 2 gold bracelets weighing 10 shekels, which he put on her wrists. Then he asked her, "Whose daughter are you? Tell me, please. And there is room in your father's house for us to spend the night." She answered, "I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor. There is plenty of straw and fodder at our place," she added, "and room to spend the night." The man then bowed down in worship to the Lord. Here we go. Beautiful. Adoration. There's adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. It's a prophecy saying, "Blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not let his constant kindness toward my master fail. As for myself also, the Lord has led me straight to the house of my master's brother." Beautiful. Then the girl ran off and told her mother's household about it. Now Rebekah had a brother named Laban. Now it gets a little bit tricky here, okay? So pay attention. Had a brother named Laban. As soon as he saw the ring and the bracelets on his sister Rebekah and heard her words about what the man had said to her, Laban rushed out to the man at the spring. When he reached him, he was standing by the camels at the spring. So he said to him, "Come, blessed be of the Lord. Why are you staying outside when I have made the house ready for you, as well as a place for the camels?" The man then went inside, and while the camels were being unloaded and provided with straw and fodder, water was brought to bathe his feet and the feet of the men who were with him. But when the table was set for him, he said, I will not eat until I've told my tale. Do so, they replied. I am Abraham's servant, he began. The Lord has blessed my master so abundantly that he has become a wealthy man. He has given him flocks and herds and silver and gold, male and female slaves and camels and asses. My master's wife Sarah bore a son to my master in her old age, and he has given him everything he owns. My master put me under oath, saying, You shall not procure a wife for my son among the daughters of the Canaanites in whose land I live. Instead, you shall go to my father's house, my own relatives, to get a wife for my son. Now, this reminds me, I'm gonna work that letter. Oh, can you loan me a pen, someone? I had a pen and I don't have my pen right now. I'll get it back to you.
No, serious.
Thank you very much. This Rick is he's a secretary and a provider. See, he's living his manly role.
There you go.
He's providing for another man. So men don't provide just for women, right? They provide for other men. And by George, my good friend Ernest is going to help me tomorrow too. We're going to get a garden too, by the way, small little garden. And I'm going to plant some real grass, not the kind you smoke.
Oh my God.
We're going to plant some real grass.
The kind you smoke is real too, Father.
The what?
The kind you smoke is real too.
I know, but this is real grass, real green grass,
Better grass.
and it's gonna. And then we're gonna have an open house, maybe in the fall by my time. But I am gonna have Lord told me we're gonna have an open house, so you're all invited, and it's free. Yeah. So listen to this. But speaking again, you look at that. You don't. The dad putting down his foot. You're not going to marry somebody who isn't. So now listen, Grandma and Grandpa. If that Isabella says she wants to marry somebody or date somebody, you make sure that if she dates somebody, that boy is going to wear a chastity ring, and they're not going to go on any separate dates without you being there or mom and dad being there. No dates just by themselves. They have to have a chaperone for all the dates. And I told you I have a rap song I wrote, right? One of the verses, and it's not a joke, but it came to me in Belize because they used to have the kids in Belize. They got big families down their island. They got one family had 19 children on an island. Yeah, every day that one son or daughter would go and get a fish, but what a day to make. No, they have to go buy groceries. Fish, with 19 children. Okay, and you don't believe me, but it's true. Anyways, so it goes like this. Hey, high schooler, can't you wait to have a steady date until you graduate? Because it's never too late to find a mate, a man or the woman or the church got made. Chastity, that's the way to be free. Chastity, that's the way to be you and me. I got other verses for it. What?
Yeah.
That's their 8th child.
Who's son?
The Sanchez's.
Oh, beautiful.
Not the Sanchez's.
Oh, the Sancho. Beautiful. Anyways, let's get back to the story. But I'll give you the other verses sometime with that rap song. And it's a chastity song. It's called, it's called To Wait. So you tell Isabella, remember, Isabella, you have to wait. And then I can see it now, Gene. Hey, high schooler, can't you wait? Gene, I'll get you the verses. You got to have a little humor. Come on. Okay, here we go.
Have a lot of humor.
Verse 42. Hey, when I came to spring today, I prayed, Lord, God of my master Abraham, may it be your will to make successful the errand I am engaged in. While I stand here at the spring, if I say to a young woman who comes up to draw water, please give me a little water from your jug, and she answers, not only may you have a drink, but I'll give water to your camels too. And let her be the woman whom the Lord had decided upon for my master's son. I had scarcely finished saying this prayer to myself when Rebekah came out with a jug on her shoulder. Isn't that beautiful? That tells you that God answers prayers. You know that. It's yes, no, and wait. Yes? I mean, in a lot of time, just wait. You know, we want an answer. To me, and someday if I write this book, by the way, so one of the chapters is going to be is it Taco Bell or God, or no, you know, here's a title. I like this. Is it Taco Bell or Taco later? And I'm gonna have to call that. You know, I'm right there because it's gonna get people's attention. It sounds like a joke, but yeah, it sounds crazy title. But really, you got to talk a little later to God about it. You can't just. Okay. All right, we're on a roll, aren't we not?
We are.
We?
We are.
But anyways, but really, so look at this. This is powerful. After she went down to the spring and drew water, I said to her, "Please let me have a drink." She quickly lowered the jug she was carrying and said, "Take a drink and let me bring water for your camels too." So I drank, and she watered the camels also. When I asked her, "Whose daughter are you?" she answered, "The daughter of Bethuel, son of Nahor, born to Nahor by Milcah." So I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her wrist, and I bowed down and worshiped to the Lord. There it bowed down and worship. A prophecy of adoration right here. Blessing the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me on the right road to obtain the daughter of my master's kinsman for his son. If therefore you have in mind to show true loyalty to my master, let me know. But if not, let me know that too. I then can proceed accordingly. You know what's beautiful about this? You know what I wrote? I should have wrote this in the when I did this a long time ago. This is witnessing. Is it not witnessing your faith? This is a witness story. This is like Acts Retreat. Let me give a witness story. And here he is. Hey, guess what happened to me? I met this beautiful lady. I mean, what a woo woo. Gee. And that's what back then they would say, woo woo.
I'm not sure they would have said that.
Well, something similar to that. Come on. You know, that's okay. Come on. My dad always said woo woo.
Right?
My dad said when he met her mom, my mom,
Real, right?
when my dad met my mom, she said, "Wow, she's a woo woo." You know, come on now. So witnessing, put that in the margin, like witnessing. See, that's why it's important to witness. Hey, you know, that's serious. That's a serious note. You know, when you tell people what the Lord's doing in your life, you know, the Lord told me this, the Lord did this. And let me give you a story that happened today. How about this? This is not going off on a tangent, but it's about witnessing. So I had an appointment, which is ended up being near the Southwestern Options, where they do abortions, right up there. Yeah, right up there. And I've wanted to get over there, pray over there, because I know Father Jim Mulligan, the previous preacher, would pray there and all that. But I have to wear more hats than Father Mulligan, so I'm gonna try to go there once a week, and maybe on Tuesdays, because a lot of these people come on Tuesdays because it takes about 2 or 3 days to get this abortion and all that stuff. It's not just hop in there and get the abortion. And they stay at the Embassy Suites, which is up the hill. So Embassy Suites in Southwestern have options. If there's any trouble, guess what? The people come from Embassy and call the police and all that. So I'm going to say this, okay? Embassy Suites. Don't stay at Embassy Suites. Yeah, they got a relationship with the Southwestern Options. They'll call the police and everything. So it's not good. Anyways, but guess what happened there? So I went there and started praying the rosary just quietly. I know there are people praying there, but I wanted to pray quietly. And then we introduced ourselves, and I had a sign, had one that with a baby on it and all that. And then I had one the one with the baby on, the beautiful baby smiling. And I was walking down. What is it? What road is that? That's
It's on Lomas.
what?
On Lomas.
Yeah, Lomas. Yeah, down Lomas. Anyways, so some people. One guy was cursing out. You know, he had the window. At least he had the window closed, but I could see he was cursing at me. And then I had someone toot the horn. That was good. And then you had a couples going there. I was going through Lomas, so I'm on the side there, and this couple comes in there, drives real fast, and the guy gives me the finger, and I said, "Oh, bless you, son, bless you." But the reason why I'm bringing up this story is because we have to witness. So guess what happened? And I'm going to say this. I don't know if people are going to watch this. If people are, my sister, I know my sister's watching this, okay? So I got one fan. No, there are other people watching this. But guess what happened? I have St. Benedict medals with me. And I don't know if you know this, when you put St. Benedict, you know about St. Benedict? That's, yeah, he's the father of monasticism. He started the first monks back in the 5th century. They're in Subiaco, Italy. And he was very strict. He was very strict with his disciples, so to speak, and never abused them, but real strict. And so they decided they were going to poison him. This is a true story. They're going to poison the Saint Benedict. And so there's a famous painting, by the way. You can look it up, where these monks are going to hand him this poison goblet with poison in the goblet. And when it gets to Saint Benedict, it breaks in his hands. And after that, those men became his most devout followers. And so Saint Benedict had a great power against evil. And I can show you what it looks like, even here on the screen. No, do I have it with me? No, I don't have it with me. But get a St. Benedict medal, because let me finish the story now. I'm not going off on a tangent. It's witnessing. So I asked this lady from Mora, because I was in a Legion there I was 4 years. I was a chaplain in the Legion, and I was short on medals. So I asked her to send me some St. Benedict medals. And so I have them in my pocket. This is what happens. So I was telling about, if we can put medals around the Southwestern options, in the 4 corners, that's a custom, by the way, even your own home. Put 4 corners, on the 4 corners, do it literally, but the 4 corners, put the St. Benedict medal around. I did it with my own home, and before I became a priest in Grand Rapids, I put it around our home on Atlantic Street. I lived on Atlantic Street. How about that, Atlantic Street? So I put the St. Benedict medals around our home in Atlantic Street before I became a priest. Anyways, on the medal, guess what it says in Latin? It's in Latin, but it should say in English. But in Latin, it's easier because it's shorter. Latin actually is shorter to say than English. But it translates, Satan, go ahead and eat your own poison. That's what it translates in Latin. Go eat your own poison. And so guess what happened? And I can say this, if it goes on the air, well, then throw me out of here. I don't care. But they have cameras, right? But there's this big, huge sign that says, the doctors that are doing it. Imagine it, a husband and wife are doing abortions.
That place has been open for like 15 years.
Yeah, I know. It's a husband and wife doing abortions. But there's a big, huge sign. So guess what? Behind the sign, they couldn't see me with the cameras. And I put one in that corner. And then on the other side, they're praying the rosary. So they're kneeling down, and I go down there, so they can't see me either. And I put one in that corner. And then there's the other corner that's Lomas, went all the way down to the end, and there's a tree there. So I put one behind the tree. You can't see, the camera can't see. So we got 3 corners. This is what the Lord told me. You're going to think this is crazy, but I'm serious. I'm going to do this. I got a slingshot. And now listen, you got to listen. I got a slingshot, and I do. I use it to teach about the rosary, by the way. You know why? Pius XII. It wasn't Mother Angelica that said this, but Pius XII. Imagine Pius XII, way back in the 20th century. He said the rosary is our spiritual slingshot. And why did he say that? Because that's how David slew Goliath. It was a sling. It was the modern slingshot, because the slingshot that I have, it looks like the rosary, like this, and it's like the rosary. Anyways, so I'm going to go sometime real early in the morning, because the cameras, by the way, are on the property, but they have another wall on the other side, and I'm going to shoot the miraculous medal over on that other corner. By George, and they'll have all 4 corners covered with the miraculous medal. What do you think? And the St. Benedict medal. Good thing's going to happen.
That's a fantastic idea.
You like it?
But you better be a good shot so it lands on the corner. It's real easy just to walk up there and put it.
No, I know, but there's a gate back there, and they got they do it. If I did that, try to go with the property at that gate, I'd be busted. No, because they got probably it's probably barbecued wire. I'd probably be barbecued. Priest barbecued that. Yeah, but no.
Died a martyr.
Yeah, but no, they got a big, huge gate, the one you slide across. But if I get behind that thing and really like this, get as close to the corner, say a prayer with it. We can do that sometime, okay? And I want to tell you that story, another story, because in Corpus Christi, Texas, Bishop Rene Gracida, as I told you, I think I told you in one of the homilies I said this. Bishop Rene Gracida, he just died 2 weeks ago. He lived to be 100 years old. He was the oldest bishop in the United States, the second oldest in the world. He lived to be 100 years old, 100 and I don't know how many months. But he was one of the first bishops to excommunicate a political official for a Catholic official for her pro-abortion stance. And he just like Matthew 5. He wrote a letter to her and he said, Can we meet to have lunch? Can we talk this out? And she did neither. So he excommunicated her. And went into the Corpus Christi Times. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, when I was there in Corpus, in that diocese for 3 years, every Saturday we went to pray the rosary around that one abortion clinic. Every Saturday we go and pray the rosary on that clinic. And believe it or not, that clinic is closed. There's no more abortion clinics in Corpus Christi, Texas. How can you? It's the body of Christ. I mean, it's the only city like in the world. How can you have an abortion clinic in Corpus Christi, Texas? And not only that, one more story about witnessing. I don't care if we finish chapter 23 or not. You got to see, I like stories, don't you? And remember, one of the titles of my chapter and books, it's the Bible is His story. His story. Okay, you get it. All right, now listen. Yeah, so let me tell you another story. So yeah, when they were there, they had these gentlemen clubs. They had, I don't know how many clubs, gentlemen clubs, strip clubs in Corpus Christi, Texas. I ain't kidding you. They had 3 or 4 of them. And that's before I even came there. I thought, oh my goodness, you can't believe this. But they had one that was less than 100 yards from a church. I remember what church it was. This is a true story. They had one that was less than 100 yards from the church. And so we were, and I went to testify before a bunch of us went before the committee to testify, to get that place closed or moved, because there were less than 100 yards from a church, a strip joint, gentlemen's club. You can't call it gentlemen's club. You know what that's called? A Playboy club. That's called the real thing, man. It's not a gentleman's club. No, it's a Playboy club. And get your act together. Gee whiz. Anyways, so guess what happened? We went to her to testify. And this one woman, she's one of our ladies in our ladies' side for many years, Becky Trujillo. Do you know Becky? Yeah, Becky. She's now deceased. Wonderful woman. She was a lay woman in our lay society from the early 60s. A wonderful, wonderful lady. And so we're all testifying, and I'm saying like this and that. I was quoting scripture. She gets up there. You know what she does? And she got a picture on the copy of Corpus Christi Caller Times. God bless America. That's what she did for her witness. She sang that song. And there was total silence when she sang it, and total silence for about a minute and a half after she got done. That's all she did. She sang, God bless America, land, da, da. And I think that made a change, but guess what happened after? They moved that club, and I don't think there's any more clubs in Corpus Christi. How about that? So we can do it. Slingshot away and keep. And I want you to go out there and pray sometime. And by the way, they start the process on Tuesdays, and if they don't, and then by Friday they have the abortion. So usually and they put them up at embassy. They don't have to pay anything. And most of I got to tell you this, to be honest with you, guess what license they're playing? Texas. There was one New Mexico license plate in that parking lot. 9-10 of them were from Texas. So we're paying for people from come to Texas, take the babies out. Okay, now back to business. That's real business, now, amen? That's real bit. Okay, here we go. Verse 48. Then I bowed down and worshiped the Lord. Look at that. Adoration, Ernest, right here. Blessing the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me on a right road to obtain the daughter of my master's kinsman for his son. If therefore you have in mind to show true loyalty to my master, let me know But if not, let me know that too. I can then proceed accordingly. Verse 50. Laban and his household said in reply, this thing comes from the Lord. We can say nothing to you either for or against it. Here is Rebekah, ready for you. Take her with you, that she may become the wife of your master's son, as the Lord had said. Look at that, Laban. Laban is listening to the Lord. When Abraham's servant heard their answer, he bowed to the ground before the Lord. Then he brought out objects of silver and gold and articles of clothing and presented to Rebekah. He also gave costly presents to her brother and mother. After he and the men with him had eaten and drunk, they spent the night there. When they were up the next morning, he said, give me leave to return to my master. Her brother and mother replied, let the girl stay with us a short while, say 10 days. After that she may go. But he said to them, do not detain me now that the Lord has made my errand successful. Let me go back to my master. They answered, let us call the girl and see what she herself has to say about it. So they called Rebekah and asked her, do you wish to go with this man? She answered, I do. Look at that. There's the first proposal. Right there. I'm going to tell Judge Roberts, here is a marriage, a man and a woman. Look at this. Do you wish to go with this man? I do. Isn't that a proposal? It sounds like it, doesn't it? Yes or no? At this, they allowed their sister Rebekah and her nurse to take leave, along with Abraham's servant and his men. Invoking a blessing on Rebekah, they said, sister, may you grow into thousands of myriads, and may your descendants gain possession of the gates of their enemies. That's the first time you see this. Look at the word sister. But she's not a sister, but she's a sister. It's the first time you see this. Sister, not just a daughter, but a sister. You are my, and you're my sister. You're my brother.
And she's gonna go marry her cousin, right?
Yeah. So look at this, my sister. But remember, it's a sister, Ernest. You're my sister, and you're my sister, and you're my brother.
But how come they're still marrying relations?
Well, because they haven't got through all the cycle yet. They're still working through that cycle.
They're still trying to populate the earth?
Yeah, they're trying to populate the earth. And remember, they just lost all the people after the flood. So yeah, they're trying to get their people back. No. So, and then after a while, you can't marry your fourth cousin or less, because otherwise you end up with a mess. Okay. So then Rebekah and her maids started out. They mounted their camels and followed the man. So the servant took Rebekah and went on his way. Meanwhile, Isaac had gone from Beer Lahai. How about that? Let's try that again for pronunciation. Beer Lahai. Okay. And was living in the region of the Negeb. One day toward evening, he went out in the field, and as he looked around, he noticed that camels were approaching. Rebekah, too, was looking about, and when she saw him, she alighted from her camel and asked the servant, who is this man out there walking through the fields toward us? That is my master, replied the servant. Then she covered herself with her veil. The servant recounted to Isaac all the things he had done. Then Isaac took Rebekah into his tent. He married her, and thus she became his wife. In his love for her, Isaac found solace after the death of his mother Sarah. So that's a good story of how to get married, don't you think? Yes, a little bit how you get married. You don't want to just marry any old buddy, right, Chanel? You don't want to marry
What'd you call me?
Janelle.
How about Francella?
Francella, I keep saying, that name. I gotta memorize that name. I got Francella. That's what I meant, Francella. I'm getting it down. That's the first time I ever heard that name. It should be sticking, but it's not sticking for some reason.
No, but Janelle sure is.
What? The what is?
Janelle.
The what?
Janelle.
No,
I'm just messing
Who
with
is
you.
Janelle?
No, Francella.
We gotta have fun, right?
I know. Francella, will you forgive me? Because I want to be a good fella. How about this? I can remember your name now. Francella Bella. I want to be a good fella, so I remember Francella.
Is Janelle gonna forgive you?
Father,
Well, but you go Francella.
we wouldn't hear about Janelle.
Just your Francella?
What?
No, Francella, right? Yeah, so Francella, I want to be a good fella, so I'll try to remember Francella. What do you think? And I'll put a poem here. Poem. Okay, listen, let's go on to the next chapter. Chapter 25, Abraham's son by Keturah. Abraham, this is chapter 25. And we only got a few more to go. I don't know if we're going to finish because I want to finish Genesis if I can. What do you got? 30, I think there's 33 chapters. How many? Is it 50? Not that any? We may not finish before I go. I mean, before we take a break. But hey, we're at 10 years from now, we're going to get through all the Bible, right, Gene?
30 more pages. Halfway there.
Hey, we're there. Yeah, we can do it. Anyway, chapter 25, Abraham married another wife whose name was Keturah. Now, that's not a good idea to marry another wife. He's going to learn because, you know, how many wives you're supposed to please? One. And how many husbands are supposed to please? One. So what happens is you end up serving two masters. So we don't want to do that. And I found out that that's why we have to, that's why you call each other honey, right? Call each other honey. Because honey always gets on the right side. Honey, can you do this? And that's why the favorite fruit of all married couples is honeydew melons. Honey do this and honey do that. What do you think? Okay, so listen. She bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan became the father of Sheba and Dedan. Oh, there we get the future queen coming up here. The descendants of Dedan were the Asarim, the Latushim, and the Lemuim. The descendants of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanak, Abida, and Eldah. All these were descendants of Keturah. Abraham deeded everything that he owned to his son Isaac. To his sons by concubinage, however, he made grants while he was still living, as he sent them eastward to the land of Kedem, away from his son Isaac. And so, of course, you know, that's where all the Muslims come from, the east. Death of Abraham. The whole span of Abraham's life was 175 years. Now, everybody, that should be our goal. Come on. Now, there's a place in Russia, by the way, that eats a certain type of yogurt. You know that. And a lot of them live to be over 100 years old. I always thought I should try to get that yogurt. What do you think?
I think so. I think I'm gonna try to.
I don't know how much it would cost to import it, but yeah, there's a place in Russia, seriously, that a lot of people live to be in their hundreds. So should we try to get that yogurt or what?
Get the recipe anyway and then make it over here.
Yeah, let's see if we can get, how about this? Francella, let's see if you can do a little homework. See if you can find out the recipe for that yogurt, would you?
Father.
Yeah, see if you can find it. Just Google yogurt for 100 in Russia. And if you do that, I'll then you don't have to give me a laptop. Anyways, here we go. Keep going. So look at that, beautiful. So we got some real things cooking here. So now verse 12. These are the descendants of Abraham's son Ishmael, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah a slave, bore to Abraham. These are the names of Ishmael's sons, listed in the order of their birth. Nebaioth, Ishmael's firstborn, Kedar, Abdil, Ibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Nephish, Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael, their names by their white villages and encampments, 12 chieftains, as many as tribal groups. Let's go on now. The birth, let's go on the birth of, right here, birth night. This is a real good story now. And we'll probably end up with this. Here we go, verse 19. Birth of Esau and Jacob. Now remember, these are the ones that fought it out in the womb. You know that, right? Okay. This is the family history of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Arameans of Paddan Aram, and the sister of Laban, the Aramean. So this is a good reason to tell your grandchildren, if they have a nice girl now, okay, right, Francella, and all those, if they see a boy and they go, oh, I want to marry them, tell them, would you like to wait for like Isaac, till he's 40 years old? What do you think?
I was reading the yoga thing.
You can-
read that?
So was
You
I.
can you can wait till 40. Maybe you don't have to have it.
Oh, yeah, I agree 100%.
Good.
I told my grandkids, when you get your first social security check, then you can have a girlfriend.
That's good. That's a good idea.
Everybody told me I was crazy.
Because a lot of girls are now not so good now. They want, and even if you got a ring on, makes no difference. Okay, here we go. So now we're at verse 21. Isaac entreated the Lord on behalf of his wife since she was sterile. The Lord heard his entreaty, and Rebekah became pregnant. Look at that. God answers prayers. But the children in her womb jostled each other so much that she exclaimed, if this is to be so, what good will it be to me? So that, that's like fighting in the womb. Imagine that. Already fighting in the womb. Okay, but the children in the womb jostled each other so much she exclaimed, okay, she went to consult the Lord. He answered. Listen to this. Very important. 2 nations are in your womb. 2 peoples are quarreling while still within you. And it's just like today, Muslims and the Jews. But the one shall surpass the other, and the older shall serve the younger. When the time of her delivery came, there were twins in her womb. The first to emerge was reddish, and his whole body was like a hairy mantle. So they named him Esau. His brother came out next, gripping Esau's heel. So they named him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. So see, you can still give birth at 60. Now look at the footnote below, heel, right here, where it says the heel. The Hebrew Bakeb Esau, a reference to the name Jacob. Probably, however, the name Jacob has no true etymological connection with the Hebrew word for heel, but instead as a shortened form of some such name as, how about that? Yagobel, means may God protect. Anyways, verse 27, then we'll finish, okay? We'll almost finish. As the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man who lived in the open, whereas Jacob was a simple man who kept to his tents. Isaac preferred Esau because he was fond of game, but Rebekah preferred Jacob. See, that's what you shouldn't do as moms and dads. If you got kids, treat each boy and each girl equal, yes or no?
Yeah.
But here they are treating them unequal. That's what that's not good. One favors not good. Esau came in the open famished. He said to Jacob, let me gulp down some of that red stuff. I'm starving. See, he likes red chili. So right there's your first, this is your first reference to red chili right here in the Bible. He didn't like the green. He wanted the red stuff. And notice he called it stuff. I like that. Red stuff. I'm starving. That is why he was called Edom. But Jacob replied, first, give me your birthright in exchange for that. Look, said Esau, I'm on the point of dying. What good will any birthright do me? But Jacob insisted, swear to me first. So he sold Jacob his birthright under oath. Jacob then gave him some bread and lentil stew and ate. Esau ate, drank, and got up and went his way. Esau cared little for his birthright. Wow, that's incredible. And I still think of a birthright. Remember, the birthright, the oldest son gets 2/3 of the inheritance. 2/3. He gets 2/3 of the pie, just like the story of, the goods of the prodigal son. He gets 2/3 of the inheritance. And the other one gets 1/3. And so, he sold his birthright for a meal. And I put this down. You can write this down. This is, I put this in prayer. There are people who are selling their birthright now. And that is, they're giving up their baptismal mark. People that lose, they don't become Catholic any longer. Like even people that don't become Catholic, become Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever, they're still Catholic. You can't remove the baptismal mark. You can't remove it. But there are people giving up their birthright, their baptismal right, to join some other church. And so that we don't want to do. We don't want to do. And so, but that amazing that he gave up for his birthright. And, and then, of course, he regrets it, right? I need that birthright back. Now, anybody who gives up his birthright for a meal, that's pretty awesome.
Well, he was starving.
He what?
He was starving.
I know, but starving, starving or no starving, you can still lick some water.
Well, I
Okay.
agree, but he thought he was starving to death.
I know, but, well, anyways, look there's always a cattle out there. There's always a cow to come. But what's really amazing?
There's always new seed.
Yeah, and you could have said, hey, listen, remember, we're twins. You could have said this, we're twins. Now, aren't you going to take care of me?
Or he doesn't even have to say anything, and you still take care of them. I
What?
wouldn't do that to my sister or my brother.
Is that right?
I-
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah, you would.
I don't know you that well.
No, but you really, come on. I'm your brother. I'm your twin brother. And, you don't have to give up your birthright. Get over here. Come on. I'll get you some. Yeah. Besides, red chili. Come on. What's the
But
number
then
one?
what about the brother that said, yeah, okay, I'll take it? So he was just as bad.
I know that's because you got swooned
They were
over.
fighting.
Yeah.
And
But
he
here, now
told-
listen, we're not done yet.
Oh,
We still have two and a half minutes. Okay. Yeah. So here's one to think about here too, is under oath. He sold his birthright under oath. See, that's why marriage is such a big deal when we make oaths. We make a promise. And I know marriage is under great attack now. And that's why, say a prayer, I can write this letter to a bishop or to bishop, to Archbishop,
To Justice Roberts.
Justice Roberts, okay? Because he needs to hear this. If an Egyptian pharaoh knows what marriage is, don't you think a Supreme Court justice would know better? If I wrote that, I'd probably be kicked out of the diocese. The people from the former presidents, so they'd come up there and put your hands behind your back.
No, they wouldn't. The ones from Santa Fe would come and tell you, you know what, Father Paul,
Yeah,
we're gonna pack you up and move you on.
I know.
belong to the diocese.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but then I'll say, I know Francella. You know, oh no, Francella. You mean the Francella? Yes.
Devil lady.
Yes, because Francella, you
might know me as Janelle. You never know.
no, Francella, how do I put that? You're my fella. My fella. I know Francella because you're my fella.
Okay, there you go.
Lord be with you.
And
With your spirit, man. God bless you. The Father and the Son, Holy Spirit, amen. 7:15. That clock is a little bit slow. We'll have to get new batteries. It's 7:15.
So you're not part of the archdiocese?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, I am a part of the Archdiocese. I'm a missionary priest, though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how that goes. So, anyways, you guys are the best. You know that?
Of course.